We've been celebrating 10 years of Be Clever with Your Cash in 2024. So this is the next in a semi-occasional series of my top 10 money hacks. And in this one, I want to focus on some of the tricks, some of the things which might be hopefully unusual. You might not have known about them or you might have forgotten about them. Ways that help you pay less on your kind of everyday spending. First of all, I want to talk about checking price history. This is such a big thing that can really help you get the lowest possible price out there. There are a few ways you can do this, a few sites. I'll come back to those in a second. But the principle of price history is exactly what it sounds like. It's looking at how much something has previously sold for in recent weeks, months, even years. And the reason this is important is because it helps you understand if a deal that you are seeing advertised is actually any good. It's so easy to get to believe when it says, was this price now this price, that is true. Because surely there are laws out there and rules out there that means they can't lie to you about it. And there are, but they can be easily manipulated. So I always take a very healthy dose of pinch of salt that was priced, the recommended retail price, because in so many cases, it's not really selling for that. You go to a price history site and you can look and find out if the price you're getting now, is it actually much of a discount on the normal price? Is it actually a good price right now? Is it better for you to wait and see if prices come around which are lower again? So it's always really handy, and you can do this in a number of different ways of doing it. You can do it on things like ebooks with Kindles or with rentals of movies or anything like that. But the big places are Camel for your kind of Amazon purchases. That will give you that history there of things on Amazon, which is often quite a good indicator as well for how much things might cost elsewhere. Or you can use sites like Price Spy and Idealo, which also have this function for other retailers. Now, sadly, these aren't as good as they used to be because some shops have been withdrawn for whatever reason. Maybe they're not sharing their data. You don't quite get to see quite that flow. But effectively, you'll see a graph, you'll see the ups and downs, and you can use it to decide whether you want to buy now or buy a tool or wait and see if things change again. Bring on to my next hack here, and this is really closely linked to this, but it's about setting price alerts. So when you have got something you want to buy and you've gone on price history and you've seen that it could be and regularly is available at a lower price, or perhaps there's something you want and you can't afford it right now, or you want it to wait till the sales come along and maybe it gets discounted as clearance just because, particularly with fashion, that style is out and it would be gone. You can set up, often with these same price history websites, but also a few price comparison ones, other ones out there, set up price alerts, and they will send you an email for when something reaches a certain price. So again, really useful way to make sure you don't have to keep checking a site regularly to see if that price has come down, but also means there's less of a chance that you'll miss out on when prices do drop down, particularly for stuff, if it is going to come end of line clearance, you might find if you've missed it, it's out of stock, it's not coming back at all. Now, the third hack is something which isn't as good as it used to be. Sadly, it used to be something I used to do all the time. Don't do it as much now, but it's still worth looking at. And this is price matching. The reason I don't do it as much now is because John Lewis were the big guys here and they stopped doing it in 2022. But other places still do it. And again, another one, really simple. The name says what it is. You go to places that offer price matching and say, I've seen this same item for sale over here for less. Or maybe for the same price, but they've got extra things that come with it. Maybe more technical things, there's an extended guarantee, or maybe the delivery prices are lower or returns policy is better, whatever it might be. They will often match it. Sometimes they might even beat it. Again, there are all sorts of conditions. It has to be exactly the same thing. And I've tried this once in the past where there was a coat I was looking at and the buttons were different. And this is because they'd made it deliberately, I think, to stop this kind of thing going on. You couldn't price match it because, again, it's not exactly the same. Even though everything else is the same, but just slightly different buttons. That was frustrating. But it's always worth giving it a go. And there are some big names in there. A lot of them are around like kind of the white goods. So Currys, Richer Sounds, Marks Electrical, they're on there. But some other ones you might not have thought about. Halfords, Wix. eBay's on there for brand new stuff. Obviously not for second-hand stuff. But again, they're on this. It's worth having a look. Different rules of how it works and different timelines. Always have a look. And often around Black Friday as well, you might find a few other places throw in extras here or give you more time to price match. Always worth a look. And just going back to John Lewis while we're talking about this hack, there is a sub version of this. They might got rid of price matching, but they still have a price drop claim promise. And this is where if you buy something from John Lewis and they drop the price themselves within 35 days after purchase, they'll give you a refund for the difference. So you might actually even want to set up, if you can, a price alert for any of those John Lewis thing you buy it, see if that price does come down, see if you can get some money off there. Next hack I want to share with you, number 4. This is around getting vouchers for getting rid of old things. So there are a number of different retailers that do this. Mainly it's around fashion and beauty. So the big guys with fashion are John Lewis again, but also M&S, H&M. There are others there as well. In beauty, John Lewis again, but you've also got Boots, Lush, a few other places as well. And the simple principle is you go to them with the things you no longer want. Sometimes you're going to a third party like a charity shop. Sometimes the rules say they have to be their own items. Sometimes they can be any of them. You take them into the store or to the charity shop, and in return, they'll give you a voucher for you to go and buy something brand new from one of those other retailers. Currys sometimes does it as well for electrical stuff. Now, with all of these, it's not like you can take loads of things, get loads of vouchers and go and get things for free. This is money off. There's often a minimum spend. But if you're buying something anyway, and this is something that I forgot about recently with M&S, I had to go and buy some smart shoes to go with a suit. And that was the only place in town, really last minute. I kind of forgot about this. I'd have remembered, I'd have got £5 off, right? So again, always try and remember this thing. If you go into any of those retailers and you've got some stuff you don't need, get that voucher and swap it around. You might even be able to stack it as well with other deals as well. So whether that's discounted gift cards or cashback and bits like that. Number 5, this next one. This is around a hack to improve your consumer rights. Now, it might not be money saving, so to speak, in the first instance, but if something does go wrong, this could prove to be a winner. So that's why I'm including it in my hacks to help you pay less. Now, this involves a couple of things, but the first part of this hack is to shop online. Now, I do encourage myself, prefer to buy on the high street because we all know the less we do it, the more like those shops are going to disappear, particularly smaller businesses. But there are no rules that say a shop has to give you a refund or even let you return anything at all. They might return for an exchange, but they might not let you do anything at all if you do it in store. Now, we know many do, and if that shop you're going to has those kind of consumer rights there in play, then you might be okay and it's still good to go down there. But if they don't offer that, then it's worth buying online because everyone has a legal right to say within 14 days of receiving something if they want to return it. And they don't have to say why. You don't have to give any justification for it. You don't like it. It's not quite what you want it to be. Whatever it might be, you've got that right to send it back and get a full refund. Of course, some of these brands, if you're buying online, they might charge you to return it. So you might have to factor that in as well. And obviously, if they don't charge you for it, we're talking in a minute, they're charging someone along the way. But this is a really, really important hack, I think, for certain things. The only things that really rule you out here if something's been personalized or if it's perishable. But otherwise, you can fight something to say this isn't quite right. And that could well be, even like talking about John Lewis again, but you could order something online from John Lewis and go and pick it up in store, exactly the same experience, but you get more rights than if you actually went in and bought it in the shop. And that happened to my mum years ago when they tried to buy a phone. They wouldn't let them return it because they bought it in store because they said, well, you saw it, you should know what it was. So she had to fight for that to actually get her refund because it wasn't actually what they needed it to be. Quickly, this sort of sub-hack of this ordering online is don't forget to use your credit card if you're buying anything that costs more than £100. Even if you only put a quid of that total on there, more than £100, less than £30,000, you also get extra consumer rights. So that's a really important one to consider as well. Now, I spoke there briefly about deliveries, and that brings me on to the next hack. And this is about getting free delivery. Now, this one, slightly more of a kind of greyish area here in some ways, but I'm going to give you my kind of top hacks here to get free delivery. Often this is about choosing, again, this is more obvious one. A lot of you guys will know this, but it's worth reiterating before we get on to the other bits. You know that if you get it delivered to a store or to a locker, in some cases there will be free delivery. You won't get charged at all, or you might get a lower minimum threshold for that free delivery. So that's obviously worth a look. The hack, I guess, is if you're trying to meet that minimum delivery threshold, whatever it might be, you maybe hopefully reduced it, but again, to a store or a locker, but you have to meet it. It's how you top that up. Now, in an ideal world, it's about thinking about maybe having a list somewhere of the things that you buy on a regular basis that you need anyway. Now, particularly when it comes to places like Amazon or supermarkets, there will be some things that you need that they sell that you can just get added to the order that bring you above that threshold that you need. And when we talk about supermarket as well, even things like batteries and stamps and stuff like that could be quite good. Be careful of stamps on Amazon though, because often they might be priced a bit higher. But do check the prices of what you're adding on. So that's a good thing. But if there's nothing you do need to add, then it's about looking at something which can be returned for free. And often that is going to be clothing. So with Amazon, that's a good example there. If you add some clothes onto your order to get it over that threshold, you often do double check it when you're buying it, because it depends who you're buying it from. But if you're buying it from Amazon, they will let you return clothes for free. And similarly with other retailers. Obviously, as I said, when you do this, there is going to be a cost to the retailer. So ultimately, they're going to pass it on to someone, and you don't want to abuse it too much because they might have things that pop up and say this person's always buying stuff and sending back a pair of socks each time, whatever. But certainly, if you need something to bring it up, that will kind of help you do that. The next one, next hack is about checking if shopping direct is good or bad. It can go both ways. It's more about shopping around. Obviously, shopping around is not a hack, right? You know that. Let's see if you can get a better price elsewhere. But this is about when you aren't necessarily thinking about it and you're going somewhere, you've seen a special offer, seen a special deal, whatever, and you think that's a great price. It's about digging that a little bit deeper. And in particular, this is around eBay and Amazon and any other third-party marketplace where businesses are selling there as well as selling else on other retailers or even direct. So you will see some big names selling on those sites, but you also see some smaller shops you might not have heard of. But they still might have their own website. And it's always worth just checking if you find it, see if they are selling it for less elsewhere. Of course, the opposite can be true, and those small shops might have a marketplace store on Amazon or eBay, and they might be less there again. You have to factor in things like the discounts, delivery charges, all of that. But I remember earlier this year, having Rough Trade, the record store, that was on its own website and it was on eBay. The prices were way, way, way higher than they were on eBay, but also delivery charges were way, way less. So you had to factor out if one of them was be better or not. And maybe there's a voucher code you can apply on one, but not the other. So do have a look at that. But the same goes the other way around as well. You might go directly to, I don't know, the Nike store or the Levi store. Don't forget there are a number of multi-brand retailers out there which will have potentially their own prices, but even if the prices are the same, let's say it's John Lewis again or ASOS or someone like that, but there might be other extra discounts you can get or lower delivery thresholds. So it's always worth having that look around. Again, that one might be a bit more obvious for people, but I particularly think those kind of smaller shops on likes of eBay and Amazon, you might not realize it's not just some bloke. They have got their own website. They might have an actual store somewhere that you can take advantage of. Okay, a couple more to go now. Hack number 8. Now, cashback. Again, cashback is not a hack, right? You guys know this already. I've spoken about that so much over the years. Same with voucher codes. You know about those things. That is not a hack. The hack, though, is potentially where you combine these all together. And people don't always think about this. Is why I'm including it in my top 10 hacks for spending less. So you can have the cashback site. You go via that cashback site. Okay, you click through from there as you would normally to earn the money back on that purchase. But when you're there, you might also be able to add in a voucher code. Now, sometimes those voucher codes are included on those sites. That's great. Sometimes they're not, and they're third-party ones. And this is where you might not be able to do it. Sometimes they might exclude the two. So you've got to weigh up whether it's worth it. But sometimes it's worth giving it a go, even if it says it doesn't, because it might track and might come through anyway. And then, of course, when you go to pay, well, then you can pay with a cashback card or potentially a discounted or cashback gift card. Again, sometimes these things do cancel each other out, but they absolutely, if you can stack cashback and deals and other offers together, it really is where you start to see those discounts coming through again. And if you can get loyalty points on top as well, that's yet another level. Remember a while ago, I bought some stuff from Boots, and it was like a number of different deals, extra coupons, cashback, a flash offer on the cashback site, the card that I used, all these things came together that really, really kind of meant I got a 50% discount on this big order of all these different things, whether it was electrical items or normal sort of like cosmetics and pharmacy stuff on Boots. It's definitely worth having that. It's a really, really big money saver if you can stack the offers. Just like I said, be aware, sometimes things might cancel each other out. So you want to make sure you prioritize whatever the biggest saving is. You want to make sure that is guaranteed. And you also want to make sure you're not buying something just for the sake of that discount. Hack number 9 now. This is another cashback one. This is a more hardcore one. This is going to be one not for all of you, okay? Now, when I talk about cashback sites, the mainly ones that I use and talk about are Quidco and Top Cashback because they're easy to use, relatively reliable. There's always risks associated, but they're relatively good ones, and you can rack up a decent amount of cash without having too much effort. And most importantly, there are free options here. Yes, there are ones that can charge you for slightly high rates, and they may be worth it or may not be worth it, but they can be done for free. There is another one. There's a few others, but there's another one called Complete Savings. And this one is the reason I don't talk about it a lot is because it's had some bad press in the past and often can end up costing you more than you earn. Having said that, I talked about this one being a kind of a next level hack to make you even more money potentially. Having said that, if you are someone who is regularly using a cashback site, you know you're going to do it, you're not going to forget to do it, and regularly spending money. If you're someone who doesn't spend much money, again, not going to be great for you. But then this might be worth putting the effort in, because the cashback rates seem to be way, way, way higher for many, many, many retailers than you are going to get elsewhere. So I still haven't signed up for this one. So that's the caveat here. But Nikki and the team, to write a review of this for the website, she signed up and went through all of it and looked at it and tried to get it and keeps using it. And not only does she keep using it, she's kept using it going forward. It's replaced her using Top Cashback and Quidco as her main cashback site because those rates are so high. Now, the reason why it's had a bad press and could end up costing people more than they make is because this one does have a hefty monthly fee between £15 and £18. It seems it can vary depending on how you sign up and when you sign up. Now, that fee, for many people, if not all people, can be wiped out by triggering a reward every single month. Now, sometimes that reward is just literally upload a receipt at any retailer, but more often than not, and this is where the hack comes in, is uploading a receipt at the first retailer you signed up by. So you don't sign up via Complete Savings. You sign up, a little pop-up often comes up at the end of a purchase. You bought something, it'll pop up and say, oh, do you want to earn cashback on future spending? That, if you have to use that retailer every month in order to get a bonus, which roughly wipes out that monthly fee. Meaning it's free, which means you make some much, much bigger savings. So the hack here, if you're willing to go through that effort to do this, is to choose a retailer, and this sounds obvious, right? But choose a retailer that you shop at all the time or can shop at all the time. So that's going to rule out those kind of big purchase things that you do once or twice a year. Still get cash back on them later on, but rules them out being your main retailer. You want to sign up, and this is what Nikki did. She went by eBay because there's always something very, very cheap that she can buy for a quid or something on eBay, or there's something that she wants to buy for her kids or anything like that anyway. So that's the way to go about it. Now, I would encourage you, please do read our full review at becleveryourcash.com, all the ins and outs, all the pros and cons. But in terms of this is about talking about hacks, right? And how to help you save money. That is a way to get around that fee potentially. And now my last hack to help you spend less, save money on your shopping and things like that. And this one might sound counterintuitive, but for number 10, I'm going to say ditch Amazon Prime, or at least ditch the annual Amazon Prime. You could still buy it here or there. But broadly speaking, this is because although when you sign up for Prime, you think it's going to save you money, right? You're going to get free delivery, you're going to get access to exclusive sales and offers, other little perks you might get. You can get free delivery plus silver, all these kind of things. You think all of that is going to save me money. Even that 95 quid annual fee that I spend is going to save me cash in the long run. And in many ways it can and will. But when I ditched Amazon for a year in 2021, and since then I've only used it very fleetingly here or there, when I ditched it for an entire year, I found that I was finding stuff that I wanted to buy elsewhere for the same price or a similar price, even when you factor in delivery. So this idea that shopping from Amazon itself is going to be cheaper, that was kind of wiped out. Yes, there will be times when it is, but broadly speaking, that wasn't the case. And I also found that by not going to Amazon, I was making less impulse purchases. Those little things where you think, oh, I'll just get that, I'll buy that, particularly when you've got Prime and that free delivery just comes through in the next day or whatever it might be. And I was planning ahead far less when I had Amazon Prime as well. Again, prompting you to go, oh God, I need this the next day or two. So I better have Prime, get it sent, get it really, really quickly. But again, you don't need Prime for that. If you buy anything that costs more than 35 quid on Amazon, you get it for free delivery. And there are ways, as we talked about, get it delivered to a locker or maybe books and other media, which are cheaper or free anyway. So you don't have to have Prime for all the things. It's more about those small little things where you're buying the odd thing here or there. But if you plan ahead and buy those things together, you might go over 35 quid, or you might be able to buy them elsewhere. So broadly speaking, getting rid of all of these things, getting rid of Prime means you'll buy less from Amazon, which means you will spend less. Now, of course, you might still need to buy stuff from Amazon. You can get a 30-day free trial every year. Basically, it works out 12 months after you last had Prime, they normally offer you another one. Sometimes it's sooner than that. Sometimes you might get offered 99p for a month or a week or something like that. So that's quite good. So you can still get Prime once a year for free. Quite good if you want to do the streaming. If there's two of you in a household, well, then you can do it every 6 months, more or less. You could time it, or time it for the big sales. If you want to do Black Friday or Prime Day, time it for when you take out your memberships there. Or if you can't get a free or discounted pass, just pay $8.99 for 1 month. Do that 3 or 4 times a year. It's still going to be cheaper than 95 quid for a year. So there you go. They are my top 10 hacks to help you spend less on your shopping and spending. My name's Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, cheers.